Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Kmart, and I want to talk about some basketball. And today, we are talking about the Orlando Magic and what's sort of gone wrong for them a little bit at the start of their playoff run here. So, just sort of get the intro out of the way. The Magic are the 5 seed in the 4 versus 5 matchup in the East. They're playing up against Cleveland, and they lost the opening 2 games in Cleveland. Neither loss was really particularly close. I believe it was double-digit losses in both games. So the series now shifts to Orlando, right? Next 2 games are going to be played on the Magic's home court, which certainly may help. But the Magic do have some other issues that I'm not sure if just a change in venue are going to fix, because the issues kind of stem from Orlando's style as a team in general, so the fixes maybe not quite as simple. To really sort of boil things down here, the Orlando Magic rely pretty heavily on their defense, right? If you take a look at their statistics, they're not an offensive powerhouse by any means. They hang their hat on the defensive end far more often than not. And so far in this series, across these first 2 games, that defense is honestly holding up, right? That's not really been the problem for the Magic here. They're allowing 96.5 points per game in this series. They're allowing the Cavs to shoot 42.9% from the field and just 29% from 3. Those 3 numbers that I just laid out are all lower than what the Magic defense allowed during the regular season. So from a pure statistical standpoint, the Magic defense has even improved from where it was in the regular season through the first 2 games of the playoffs. There is one sort of slight issue with their rebounding. In the regular season, they averaged a plus 2.4 differential in terms of rebounding. So far in this series, that average is -8. So they're getting out rebounded pretty heavily by the Cavaliers, but in terms of talking about their defense in scoring statistics, they've been doing very well. The issue is that the offense, which so far this season has obviously been the weaker aspect for Orlando, has been even weaker than usual. They have not been able to really pick up the slack, even with the defense holding their opponents under 100 points. The Orlando offense has averaged 84.5 points per game. They're shooting 34.3% from the field across these first 2 games and just 23.6% from 3. So they have not really been able to get it done. The calling card for the Magic has been the defense. As I said, that defense slows down the pace of the game, turns it into an efficiency-based sort of scenario, right? The Magic don't take a crazy amount of shots by volume, but they would hit more than their opponents with that slowed down pace, and that's how very often they would win games. That's not really happening here, right? 34.3% from the field is pretty terrible. 23.6 from 3 is slightly worse. And the Magic aren't sort of getting the free throws that they normally would to make up for that. Or I suppose the way I should say that, they're not making enough free throws to make up for that. They are a team that traditionally shoots the ball very poorly from the line, 26th in the league in terms of their free throw percentage, which is very obviously not good. But it's been even worse across these first 2 games. They've taken 56 free throw attempts in those 2 games. They've shot 67.9%. So, you go up to the line and you're missing every 3rd free throw. Those are the kinds of points that matter when you're shooting as many as the Magic are. Not sure if it's enough to have changed the outcome of these games if they had made all those free throws, but it certainly would have made them a lot closer down the stretch. So the Magic offense needs to be efficient, because the defensive pace they play at is not going to afford them the opportunity to just win on volume, and they're not doing that, right? They're not shooting well. They're not hitting their free throws. And the players who they normally would rely upon for outside shooting really have not been able to deliver here, right? We've got three guys in particular. Suggs, Harris, Wendell Carter Jr. all shoot at least 3 3-pointers per game in the regular season, and their averages are pretty high. Suggs shoots 39.7%, Harris 37.1%, Wendell Carter Jr. 37.4%, right? There are guys who technically shoot a higher percentage, but on fewer attempts per game. So I just kind of narrowed it down here to guys who shot at least 3 per game. But those three guys, Suggs, Harris, and Wendell Carter Jr., have really not had their touch in this series. They are a combined 7 of 30 from beyond the arc here. So it's kind of an issue, right? Three guys that you relied upon to shoot the ball at relatively solid levels of consistency, right? They're all at least 37% shooters from beyond the arc. 7 of 30 is not going to get it done. So at this point, the defense is still holding, but the offensive efficiency has slipped to the point where the Magic are still losing their first 2 games of this playoff series. Now you shift the question to, is this fixable? And the answer is, from my perspective, I'm not really sure, right? The Magic defense is playing pretty much exactly the way that it wants to. It's playing to its own game plan, right? You're slowing the pace. It's resulting in fewer sort of scoring opportunities and lower scoring games in general. There isn't really a crazy amount more that you can expect out of the defense on that front, right? They're doing a spectacular job holding the Cavaliers to fewer than 100 points per game. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but the defense is doing pretty much what you want it to. The Magic offense needs to improve dramatically, but it isn't really built to do that in the way that most teams would, right? They're bottom 5 in field goals. They are last in the league in field goal attempts per game, last in 3-pointers made per game, and 29th in 3-point attempts, at least during the regular season. So you can't do what most teams do if they're in an offensive slump here, which is just try to maybe push the tempo, increase your volume, take more shots sort of thing, right? Get more chances at scoring, and maybe the ball goes through a few more times, and that gets the confidence level up for the whole team. But the Magic offense very rarely tends to do that. They are kind of trapped in the style that they've set up for themselves. The defense slows the game down, and the offense plays efficiently enough to overcome your opponents. So unfortunately, if you're Orlando, that's the way you have to play. You're not really built for anything else, and down 0-2 in the middle of a playoff series is maybe not the best time to be fundamentally changing the way that your team plays to try and be a sort of run and gun, up and down the floor kind of offense, especially if it sacrifices the defensive efficiency that you've been relying upon pretty much the whole season. So realistically speaking, I think it just comes down to the Magic needing to have a sudden increase in their efficiency, right? To have their 3-point shooters hit, to make more of their free throws, for Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero to step up and have even bigger games than what we've seen from them through the first 2 games, because they haven't really done all that poorly themselves, but that's what they're going to need. The Magic just need the game plan to fall back into place, because at this point they've built their team in such a way that I'm not sure they can afford to deviate from that game plan in the first place. So we shall see, right? This is the 4 versus 5 matchup. These teams were separated by 1 win, I want to say. So a shift to Orlando, playing in front of their home crowd, that in and of itself might be enough to shift that mindset and get some of these guys who haven't been hitting as efficiently as they need to get back on track. It could just be as simple as that. But that really is where the change has to come for Orlando. The defense is doing exactly what you want it to do, what it was built to do. The offense just needs to catch up. So we'll see how it goes for them. But as of right now, the Magic are in a little bit of trouble. But That's my opinion. Please feel free to let me know what you think. Are these more manageable problems for Orlando than I'm sort of giving it credit for? Do you think the shift back to a couple of home games for the Magic will do the trick and let them get back into this? Or is this a scenario where, barring drastic change, the Cavs are going to just keep on sort of charging their way through this series? But as I said, either way, please feel free to let me know what you think. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.